Sunday, April 14th. Just got back from Cub Scouts camp out with my 8-year-old son. That went about like you would expect. Dad didn't get much sleep. Son had a whole lot of fun. I'm glad to do things like that, but as Ian Stepler told me one time, I wear sunglasses to hide the bags under my eyes. I look like I'm traveling for a pretty long trip today. Feel stretched pretty thin. I told my wife I've got some have to do work, not want to do work, but have to do work. I've got 41 queen cells that need to be installed tomorrow. I've got 32 nukes pulled up over an excluder. Math doesn't work out there. I need 9 more. And I like for them to sit over an excluder for 24 hours, so it's got to get done this afternoon. Because I'm gonna start pulling them tomorrow morning and dropping cells. I've got to pick the kids up from school in the afternoon, so I've got to be done. I need to start early and get done early. So have to do kind of work, but I sure don't feel like it today. I'm gonna have to start getting some more sleep, or I'm gonna end up with a cold or something. I always get sick if I get just worn thin. I always catch a bug. I'm about at that point right now. Hope you guys can hear me. The wind is really howling today. I took 2 heavy splits out of this hive on 330, and I wanted to check back in on it. So I took 10 frames out of this colony, and I added back mostly drawn comb. I can see a foundation here that they have not started to draw. I actually added that later. They're not working all the way across everything in here. I don't have a ton of drone brood. I don't have a ton of queen cups. This hive is on track to make honey and not swarm, because I'm just a couple weeks away from the flow right now. So I'd say they're good, and they probably don't have the resources to give me another split. Also of note, I gave them a box of foundation. I pulled up one frame that they were working on to draw them into this super, and they have not started drawing these foundations. The frame that I dropped in here, they have not started drawing that foundation either. That tells me that they've not been on enough of a flow yet to draw foundation. I'm hoping that will change this week. Almost the same story with this colony. Took 2 big splits out of it on 330. I took 10 drawn combs out. I've got 1 in the top box that was a foundation. They actually have started to draw that, so that's good. They have not started drawing in the upper box of foundation. Got a few queen cups. They're not overly populated. I think in 2 weeks they were just about right to go into the main flow. I think they are just about right. Well, have to work's coming to a close. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 splits pulled up and ready to go. I need 9. And then I've got this queen that I made my builder out of. There's the original part of her hive. That's my cell builder. Moved her over here. She's populated that moderately well. They've got a history of being a little cranky, and I dove in to this one today to see if I could split them. She's got a bunch of drone brood and some queen cups and stuff in there. Nothing alarming yet, but she's looking a little bit swarmy, and they're not that big. They're just not that big. They haven't spread out. She's chimneyed, got brood in all 3 boxes, so 7, 8, 9. There's my last 3 splits. She's gonna meet her end tomorrow, and I'll just probably drop those boxes same yard and add a super foundation with a feeder on this bottom one, because they'll catch the field force and get stronger. And the other 2, we'll just repopulate the yard. Still debating on whether to graft into the builder again, but I think I will. I don't have to use the cells, or I can give them away if I don't have enough strength, but I'm really debating on that, if I've got enough strength. The hives that I've split twice, I I split this one twice on 330. Those were big splits, 5 frames a piece. I just split this one again. Most of the ones that I've already split, though, don't have anything extra to give me. I think they're in good shape to make honey, but they don't have a lot extra to give me. That's the first one of 2024. Beautiful little queen. She's hard to spot. Really hard to spot with that coloration. Just pulling out of my mating yard here. And that stuck out to me. That's the first swarm I've seen this year. It had to have come out of one of my mating nukes. Huh. How could that have happened? Probably they rejected the cell, or the cell didn't emerge, and they had multiple emergency queens come out, and one of those queens swarmed. It's interesting. I don't have any equipment with me. I'll come back and get them in the morning. I don't think they'll leave before then. If they do, whatever. They're in a briar patch too. That's gonna be fun. I was gonna knock off the rest of the day and try to go catch a fish out of the pond, but I decided that catching this swarm is better odds and probably more valuable in the long run. And the kids are at a birthday party, so I may as well. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I've been doing a better job of keeping my hives from swarming the last couple of years. Let's cut that little tree off with my Leatherman. Set it on a nuke box. It's got one old crusty drawn frame in it. I went ahead and filled the feeder about 3/4 full. And I'm just gonna wait until they start moving in there. I did spray a little bit of Swarm Commander on the back of the box there, so it should smell like home. I'll get them in that box and they'll be done. Quick tip for everybody. To this day, so far, now this could change, but to this day I've never had a swarm abscond that I fed in the nuke the same day I caught them. I have had a swarm abscond that I didn't feed, but I've never had one abscond if I fed them. I think they are so supercharged and ready to build wax that if you feed them in that nuke, it forces them to build wax, and then they're committed. You know, they're pot committed once they start building wax. Got a swarm and a pretty nice largemouth in the same day. That's not too bad. April 15th, it's 74 at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm riding around drinking coffee, picking nukes, and getting ready to drop cells. It's a fun day. Good day. I really do like my 10 frame medium nuke system, and pulling nukes up above a queen excluder and letting them age for a couple days and populate with bees, and then roll into the yard and just set them on bottom boards and put a lid on them. Let's see, took me 19 minutes from the time I pulled into this yard to the time I'm leaving. I only had 9 nukes in here, but still, that's 9 nukes in 19 minutes. It's almost 2 minutes per. That is pretty good. It does take 2 trips to the bee yard to make this system work, but I don't have to find queens, and man, it just makes everything easier. Spreads the workload out some. I like it. So my process on dropping cells in these nukes, I open up the lid just enough to get to the feeder, put a 1/2 or 3/4 of a gallon in, and then I'll go get my cell out of the truck and put it in a cell protector. And I always visually inspect the cell to make sure nothing is wrong with it. I threw one out a few minutes ago and I didn't even think to try to video that. It's dumb. because the tip of the cell was dark looking. And see, these are good looking cells. Royal jelly's been eaten, they're well formed, no odd colors, they're not too long. If you find one that's got a dark spot down in the tip of the cell, that could just be that the tip of the cell has been thinned out. But the one that I pulled open, and you can pull these open, just use your thumbnail to gently separate the wax from the end of the plastic cup and then crack the cell open. You can look down in there, and I did find one where the larvae had actually died. A lot of times if you find a really long cell with a lot of royal jelly in it, that's because the larvae fell off of the jelly and then it died. So I always visually inspect. You don't want to waste time with dead cells. I'll get a cell protector on these because these bees probably don't even know that they're queenless yet. So the reason I leave the lid cracked while I go to get the cell is so I know for sure which one of these mini nukes I was working on. And then I install the cell between the brood frames near the edge of the brood pattern, and then write C for cell and the date, so 4/15, April 15th. And that works. So my incubator is being run off of a battery pack that's in the back floorboard. And I've got the windows down. It's gonna hit 80 today. I made sure to park so that this thing was not in the sun. You can get a greenhouse effect through here, and your temperature can go to 120 and you'll cook your cells. So if I cannot avoid parking with this in the sun and get plenty of airflow, then I will idle the truck, run the air conditioner, and keep the doors closed. It's a lot of door opening and closing, but that's better than cooked cells. That can be a really bad day if you cook all your cells. The day ran short yesterday, so I did not graft into my cell builder again. I did just go through it, and the 2 brood frames I added the previous week, one of those had an emergency cell on it, so I knocked that down. They're good and truly queenless now. They're not real happy. But something has happened. This has been running so long. This is going to be my 4th round of grafts. So any varroa mites that are in there are on the bees now. There's no open brood for them to get in. And when I put queen cells in there, that's going to be the only opportunity for varroa to reproduce. That's the only open brood that will be in this entire hive. So I'm going to do an oxalic treatment on them and try to knock those phoretic mites out. I'll probably do a heavy dose, and because there's a lot of bees in there, they're very crowded, and try to clean it up just as much as possible. I also added a pollen patty and some more feed, so they are extremely well fed. I need to give them another foundation as well, and then I'm going to graft into them today. At 9 in the morning, I just pulled into this yard to pull a frame of eggs from one of my Corey Stevens queens from last year. I think this is the best of the lot. I really do like her. She gave me 2 splits. She's going to give me a honey crop. She's not swarmy. She's gentle. She keeps a nice clean hive. Actually makes quite a bit of propolis, not a lot of burr comb, and had low mite counts. So I'm going to graft from her, but I wanted to say that I pulled into this yard. I got out of the truck. I heard the roar, this baseline hum, and the activity. These bees are on a flow. I don't know what, but they're coming and going heavy. You can just tell by the sound. Somebody needs to come in and weed eat. If I had an employee, I would direct that to be done. I need to bring the weed eater when I come back. So this is one of the first round nukes that I made, and I made them a little stronger because I knew that we had cold weather, and I also thought I could split them in a later round or make a honey crop with them. And that worked out because we did get into the 30s for about 3 days right after the virgin queens emerged. So that worked out, and that's a good thing that they're as strong as they are. But it's a double-edged sword, because a little nuke packed this tight with bees, it is dreadfully hard to find the queen when she is a dark tiger stripe, and it seems like that is the color that most of these are from this queen mother that I grafted off of. I don't know that I've ever seen the queen mother. I haven't looked for her really hard, but the couple queens, the couple daughters I've seen of hers are a dark tiger stripe, and boy, they're hard to find. I really should be doing this in the late afternoon when the field force is gone, and that would depopulate the hive and make this easier. It'd probably be a better use of my time. I was trying to do it in the morning because I'm in the shade and it's nice and comfortable for me, but it's also going to take a whole lot longer because there's so many bees packed in here. If I wait until the afternoon, a lot of these will be gone. You can see what I mean about those dark tiger stripes. They really do blend in. Especially when they're young and their abdomen isn't fully distended. She's pretty though. She's a little bit easier to see now. Well, I really do like having marked queens in my hives. And if you do it when they're in a mating nuke, it makes things a whole lot easier. Mark them in a mating nuke, and then as you go through big hives and you just happen to see unmarked queens, you mark them immediately. That's the way to do it. So my distance vision's still really good, but my up close vision, it's a little blurry. So when I'm doing this sort of stuff, looking for eggs and everything, I do wear my reading glasses, and then I've got a headlamp. I put it around my neck because this veil style won't allow me to put it around my head. If you've got the round hat style, you can actually do that, but I think having it around your neck is actually a little easier. Just turn that on, and I can look down in cells real easy and see if there's eggs or not. If there's eggs, you just start looking for a queen. So a couple more things on going through queen mating nukes. This hive is now roaring. Sometimes they'll do that if they're queen right, but she hasn't started laying or something. I don't know. One quick tip, I did find this bucket seat. I think Fraybill makes it, and it is really handy to drop your cages or cell protectors and that stuff in, get them out of the hive, and be able to carry things around with you. I really do like that. It's cheap too. On going back through mating nukes, I think Paul Kelly's way, he's at the University of Guelph, I think his way of doing it is probably the most sensible. You wait 4 weeks from the time you drop the cell, and when you go back through, if you've got capped brood, it's the queen that you gave them. If you've got eggs, it's an emergency queen. And the other alternative is it's a laying worker. And if you wait exactly 4 weeks, it's really easy to tell the difference in all those. If you wait 5 weeks from the time you drop a cell, the nuke is about to explode because they've got capped brood ready to emerge. So after about 5 weeks, that's when you want to sell the nuke, or you want to get another box on it or transfer it or whatever. Now I'm at April 16th and these queens emerged on the 1st. Not all of them are going to be laying yet. or maybe they are, but there's so few eggs that I can't find them. So I'm sort of screwing around, wasting my time today, but it's fun and I enjoy it. So I want to see a few new queens, but I will probably come back next week because I grafted today. That means in 10 days I need to drop cells in. So over the next week I will grade out all of these nukes, and any that are queenless I will drop a cell in one time and try to get them reestablished. After that, if it doesn't work, they're laying worker, and I'll just combine them with another colony. But I am going to try to salvage some if I can and drop cells in them. But it takes a little while to make sure they're queenless, because you have emergency queens or something come back, and sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. Sometimes you can just open these little nukes up and instantly know that they're queen right. They're festooning on my foundation there. That means they're gonna start trying to draw that out. That's bees acting like they're supposed to. So I would almost guarantee these girls are queen right. So I talked in a video, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 ago. They kind of run together for me. I spend so much time editing that I don't remember what happens where. Anyway, I was talking about how I need to make the jump into some bigger wholesale customers and distributors and things like that, with centralized distribution, where I just deliver a lot of honey at once on a pallet to a warehouse. And that's more time efficient for me and gives me the cash flow and dependability that I need to grow my business. I wasn't just paying lip service to that. I've been working on a lot of that stuff in the background for the last 6 months. And I've got an order. So I need a lot of honey. And of course, they need it right now. I told them a week. And I don't know how I'm going to get it done with my little bottling tank. It's I need 2 more bottling tanks and a filling machine, and to move to drums and use a honey pump. And I'm working on all that, but I'm not there yet. So this is one of those times that Bob Benny talks about, where you bite off more than you can chew, and then you figure out how to chew it. And how I'm going to chew this is by spending a whole lot of hours at the bottling tank over the next week. And it's not just the time spent bottling. I don't mind work. It's as the tank gets lower, head pressure reduces and the filling goes slower. So I like to keep the tank pretty full. I can only put 4 buckets in it at a time because I have to let them drain. I can only fit 4 buckets on the rim of the tank in my bucket holders. And after I refill it, I like to let it sit overnight before I start bottling. That allows all the wax and everything to settle and rise to the top, and then I'm bottling good clean honey. So there's cycle times in all of this, you know. It's not like I can just go in a day and refill the tank 3 times in a day and get it all done. The way I'm doing it, I think, puts out a higher quality product, but it's going to take multiple days of work to be able to make it happen. I need to grow some bigger teeth so I can chew this bite.